Okay, when I say Mount Everest, what pops into your head? Probably this majestic snow-capped peak, right? The ultimate symbol of human achievement. But lately, it's gotten a new nickname, and well, it's not a good one. It's something that completely flips that beautiful image on its head.
Yeah, you heard that right. How on earth did the world's highest, most remote peak get called the world's highest garbage dump? It sounds crazy, doesn't it? But the story of how we got here, it's a huge wake-up call about our footprint even in places we think are untouchable. So let's talk numbers. We're looking at over 50 tons of trash. 50. And just to be crystal clear, we're not talking about a neat landfill somewhere. This is garbage, literally frozen into the ice, scattered across one of the most delicate and extreme ecosystems on the entire planet. Okay, so how did all that stuff even get up there? Well, climbing Everest has become big business. Every year, hundreds and hundreds of people, climbers, tourists, you name it, make the trek. And the simple fact is, what goes up doesn't always make it back down. When you're dealing with insane weather, total exhaustion, or sometimes just carelessness, things get left behind. A lot of things. And listen, it's not like it's just one or two people being irresponsible. This is a problem that builds up over time. Get this. The average climber generates about 8 kilos. That's almost 18 pounds of trash on just one expedition. We're talking food wrappers, plastic bottles, batteries, broken equipment. Now multiply that by the hundreds of climbers every single year, and yeah, you start to see how we got to 50 tons.
All right, so what is all this trash exactly? Let's break it down, because it's a pretty nasty mix, and some of it is way more harmful than you'd think.
So, if you look at the breakdown, you've got a few big offenders. There's all the abandoned gear, tents, ropes, stuff like that. Then you have the empty oxygen tanks, which are super heavy and a pain to bring back down. Of course, there are tons of plastic and packaging. And then, and this is the really grim part, there's an incredible amount of human waste. The real kicker here is how long this stuff sticks around. Because of the extreme cold, a plastic bottle up there could take like 10,000 years to break down. 10,000. Every year, about 400 kilos of nylon ropes are just left there. And don't even get me started on the batteries, just leaking toxic chemicals straight into the ice. It's basically a frozen in time ticking time bomb. But honestly, the most shocking problem might be this. Every single year, an estimated 14 tons of human waste is left on the mountain. 14 tons. See, once you get above base camp, there aren't any toilets, so climbers just dig a hole in the snow. It freezes, it gets buried, and for a while it's out of sight, out of mind. But it doesn't stay buried forever. And this is where the story takes a really dark turn. Because this isn't just a problem for a remote mountain. It becomes a massive crisis for people living miles and miles downstream. That waste, it starts to travel. It's a pretty simple and, frankly, terrifying chain reaction. The glaciers are melting faster than ever, right? So all that frozen buried trash, including all 14 tons of that human waste per year, it gets exposed. Then the meltwater washes it right down the mountain and straight into the rivers that are the main source of drinking water for millions of people. So you see, this is so much bigger than just cleaning up a pretty landscape. This is a full-blown human health crisis. The pollution from the top of the world is literally poisoning the water for entire communities. It's gone from an environmental problem to a public health emergency, plain and simple. Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom. The good news is people are fighting back. The Nepalese government and a bunch of other groups have launched what might be one of the most incredible high-altitude cleanup jobs ever. Just in 2024, a team led by the Nepalese army managed to pull 11,000 kilograms. That's 11 metric tons of garbage off the mountain. And just to give you a sense of how intense this work is, they also recovered the bodies of several climbers who'd been lost for years. It's incredibly dangerous work. And they're not slowing down. In fact, they're ramping up. In a huge effort in the spring of 2025, they collected a mind-blowing 83 tons of waste from the whole region. That is a massive signal that they're taking this incredibly seriously. Now, these cleanups aren't just random. They're part of a big official strategy, the Everest Cleaning Action Plan. It's a 5-year plan, and the whole point isn't just to pick up old trash, but to stop new trash from ever getting there in the first place with some brand new, super strict rules.
And these new rules are pretty clever. Let's look at them. The human waste problem. Now climbers have to use special biodegradable bags and, this is key, carry them back down. Worried about people ditching their gear? Well, now some of it will have tracking chips embedded in it. And the tour companies? They have to sign legal agreements promising to bring back everything. It's a really smart, modern fix for a problem that's been ignored for way too long.
But as amazing as all this is, the cleanups, the new rules, it makes you wonder, are we just putting a Band-Aid on the problem, or are we actually getting to the root of why it happened in the first place?
Because at the end of the day, you can't just clean your way out of this forever. The real, lasting solution has to be a total shift in how we think about the mountain. We have to stop seeing it as just a thing to conquer and start seeing it as something we need to protect. Think about it. Mount Everest doesn't really belong to anyone. It's not a trophy. It's part of our shared global heritage. That means protecting it is on all of us, for the people who dream of climbing it, and especially for the communities whose lives depend on its clean water. And really, that's what this whole story boils down to. What's happening on Everest is like a mirror for all of us. It forces us to ask a really big question. Are we here to conquer nature, or are we here to be its guardians? The future of Everest, and maybe a lot more than just Everest, really hangs on that answer.